Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, Team Rayceen Productions MC and producer. And today I have with me Che Monique. Hello.
Thank you for having me. I'm so jazzed to be here.
Of course, I'm so happy that you are here. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. I'm not gonna lie. Like life is a little chaotic. I just moved, so
Mm,
you know,
I
behind
see,
this
I see.
wall is a bunch of boxes. And
Uh-huh.
under that wall is a bunch of boxes, but
Yes,
I'm okay.
I love it. Let me begin. Could you begin by, introducing yourself a little and tell me a little bit about your background and what you do?
Wow, I'm like
Mm,
such a
such
chameleon.
an enigma. I know.
It's not even an enigma. Like everything I do is pretty on the nose. It's just
Mm,
like, which introduction do you want? So hi, I'm Che Monique, a longtime friend of the Ask Racine show. I currently spend most of my energy doing things with the Society of Fat Mermaids and mermaiding myself as Mermaid Che Monique. Um,
mhm.
I have a background in burlesque, and that's kind of how I made my way to you all. I perform still with the DC Girly Show, and I was the founder, or am the founder, of Chocolate City Burlesque and Cabaret, along with my co-founder Dainty Dandridge. Um, yeah, I'm a mermaid. I do motivational videos, which is like a little bit different.
Yes.
So you can find me like swimming around, but you can also find me just trying to pour and speak life and magic into you uh,
Yes.
in my mermaid form.
Let's talk a little bit about Society of Fat Mermaids because the first time I discussed it was it on Tantalizing Tuesdays, I believe? Yes. And that was my first time learning about it at the time. So for the viewers out there who didn't catch that show, talk a little bit about the Society of Fat Mermaids.
Okay, so Society of Fat Mermaids is both a clothing line and a community. And as a clothing line, we're size inclusive. So we carry t shirts from a small through a 6XL and leggings from like an extra, extra small through a 5XL and a couple other things, but mostly t shirts and leggings is kind of what we carry. And our basic unisex, just standard t shirt, it's always $15, and I encourage people to cut it up. I'm wearing one now for some reason. I haven't cut it yet, but like I try to price things at a point where A, it's accessible, and B, you're not afraid to cut it up. Like every now and then I get like a really, maybe you go to a concert and you pay like $60 for a t-shirt at a concert if you don't find, the guy outside. And it's like you want to cut it up and like make it your own, but you're also like, I just paid $60 for this shirt. I'm not going to cut it.
Yeah,
Our basic t-shirts are just $15 so that they're at a price point where like A, you can like collect them, and B, you shouldn't be afraid to cut it up and play around with it. And also we're a community. So online you can join our Facebook group. It's called Society of Fat Mermaids Let's Connect. And it's just a community of actual like mermaids like me who swim in tails, and just people who self-identify in some capacity as like a mermaid, whatever that means to you. If that
mm,
makes, like, some people are just like, I'm a mermaid, and that might be they love to swim. It might mean that their hair is pink. It might mean that they're just, their personality is too big for land, so they got to go to the water.
yes.
That's you. You're welcome to hang out with us. And over time, we've been evolving to kind of be more and more of a resource for larger bodies who are interested in mermaiding. A lot of people don't recognize that mermaid tails are available in larger sizes. We've also been like working with tail makers to increase their sizing and their representation. And so that's pretty cool. So we're making kind of waves in the mermaid world in 2021, maybe at the end of 2020. I'm not sure. Our podcast will be launching Fat Mermaids Make Waves. That's kind of one of our taglines.
Yes.
And even with that, it's like you can make waves in so many different ways. And sometimes just having a not non-traditional, but a body that's not represented a lot, showing up, just being yourself, sometimes that in and of itself is making waves. I'm going to
Yeah.
say I'm going to make waves and be radically vulnerable and tell you guys that my nail polish looks horrific.
I love the vulnerability.
Like that sometimes, but it's like I needed to put it out there so that I'm not just sitting here going, oh my God, who's watching this
Yeah.
about my nails? Like, first of all, the color doesn't even match my makeup. Second of all, it's horribly chipped, but like that's life sometimes, and I
Yes, it
think
is. Yes,
it's
it is.
definitely pandemic life. Like you are in my living room looking at my chip nail polish, and that's just where we are. But I'm still here, like I'm not going to cancel an interview because my nail polish sucks,
Of
Like,
course not.
I'm just going to acknowledge it and move on. So That's Society of Fat Mermaids, obviously at societyoffatmermaids.com and on all the social medias.
Of
And right now,
course. Well, tell me something. Oh, there we go. Society of Fat Mermaids. I love it. So tell me something, tell me how you first came, did anything with Team Rayceen Productions. Tell me about that, because through CCBC we have met many other people, collaborated, connected with, from Gigi Holiday to Mackie Road to Latte Ellington. Like, we really have met so many people. Tell me about your first time, being in this Team Rayceen sphere.
my first time being in the Team Racing sphere, I remember, and it's weird because I've never consistently been on Twitter. And I know that your team is like big on Twitter and like do a lot of like your networking. Like everybody has their favorite social media. And for some reason,
Yes.
me and Twitter have never clicked for whatever reason. I don't know why.
I
Um,
used to be a huge Twitter person. What are Twitter people call, like, if you tweet? Anyways,
so tweeting,
I
I don't
used to be a huge Twitter person, like back in my late teens, early 20s. And then eventually I just fell off, and I should be getting back better, but am I really? I don't think so. So I get you. I
it's like
get you.
everybody kind of has their like social media zone.
Yeah, yeah.
So fortunately, in a period when I was on Twitter a little more, someone on your production end reached out and asked about the DC Girly Show uh, performing as part of y'all's, I think, 2014 Sexy season finale. And at the time, CCBC was gearing up for its very first show, the original Black Friday show. And I was like, I'm sure I can find you people from the girly show, but don't you also want this representation from Chocolate City Burlesque and Cabaret? And so that was kind of my very first time. I was so jazzed to perform at Live nightclub the last time. Is it Live or Live?
Live.
It is Live. Okay. The last time I'd been there was to see Tidra Moses, and like just like, yeah, you know what I mean? To like be on a stage that you like saw some, like
Yes,
it was like,
yes.
this was not just like your regular burlesque bar. So I was really excited about that. And the DC Girly Show and CCBC, I believe. And there is a lot of overlap, like, I mean, between the two groups, showed up and performed.
I love that. I really, really love that. So, um, tell me a little bit about your burlesque. What inspires your burlesque, and your performance? What inspires your performance? What really, drives it?
For me, I think burlesque, and I started performing burlesque when I was 20, which is technically illegal, so I guess I was 21. Um, I feel like my first time on stage, I guess I was 21. I was 21. I was 21. Yeah. And I found, and I am now 34. So, gray hair, older chicks, folks, hey, we're out here. But I really feel like I did just a lot of growing up through the burlesque space. I found my way to burlesque, or I first fell in love with burlesque. I saw some sort of like TV documentary. And it's so weird how fast technology changes, because now like a quick little mini documentary style interview, like you see those online all the time. But when I was in college, like, yeah, the internet existed, but not in the way that it exists now. And so it was like something on like TV, and it was like on 2020. It wasn't quite 2020, but something like that. And there was this group in San Francisco, and I think they were called Big Burlesque or something like that. And I have been fat my whole life. And I have for much of my life did all the like stereotypical like low self-esteem fat girl things, and like always was told, if you lose X amount of weight your life will be great. And I don't know, my life's great now. But never lost the weight, but my life got great. I think if you love yourself your life will be great. But
There you go. There you go. That's the key.
I thought the key was losing X amount of pounds, and I always just like absorbed all the like hatred that like the larger society gave me about being a person of size. And so when I saw like this group of like fat, sexy women, I was like, oh my God, I'm running away to San Francisco. I'm joining Big Burlesque. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, because I think it represented for me this like freedom that I didn't know was possible. And
Yeah.
that like I could be like sexy and like enjoy my life and be vibrant as I am. Right. And so one of the things I miss about the old internet is that I feel like it was easier to get lost. I feel like with the current internet, like if you're looking up mermaids, you're going to get like laser focused into mermaids. But I feel like back in the day, you'd like start out looking at mermaids, and the next thing you knew, you were like learning about some planet that like,
Uh-huh.
like you just go like all these places. So one night back in the day, I don't know what I was doing. I was just goofing off on the internet, and I stumbled upon Kitty Victorian and the DC Girly Show. And it was like, what? There's burlesque in DC? I'm going. And it was at a bar called Chaos that is no longer, that used to be in DuPont. And I grabbed my best friend and we went to the Girly Show. And it was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I was like, oh my gosh. And then we went a month later, because it was a monthly show. It still is a monthly show. We went a month later and it was still very cool. But like, these weren't like Kennedy Center level performances,
Yeah.
like, I can do that. What, so I asked, like, what do I need to join the troupe? And I was told I needed to take a class and, show up at the next meeting. And that was 13 years ago. And so for me, I feel like I kind of found elements of myself through burlesque,
Mm-hmm.
certain types of confidence, certain types of, and it was just always playful. Especially there were points when like the Girly Show would have weekly shows. I think we teamed up with the DC Kings at B Bar, and there were weekly shows. And so like with the weekly show, it's like, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do
Yeah.
now? And there were a lot of highly themed shows. So it's like, okay, what's my Halloween, thing? What's my like, and so a lot of it was just like playing around, figuring out storytelling. But for me, a lot of it was just, I kind of feel like I just grew up in the burlesque space, which I'm really grateful for. And then it's weird because I've always feel like I'm a procrastinator, and certain things you do well procrastinating, and certain things you don't. And like, I don't think burlesque is like a great thing for a procrastinator. And so like, I just never felt like my performance was ever like, I never meet my own standards as a burlesque performer. And so that's kind of how I switched to the production end. And
Ah.
joke with CCBC that like I wouldn't book myself. Like, like
Oh
everybody
wow.
else in the troupe is better than me. Like,
Oh wow.
but
Tell
that
me
was like it was
something. How has this year, been for you when it comes to, because I'm sure for many artists, for many performers, this year has really changed things a lot. 2020, that is. 2020 has really changed things a lot. Tell me how you've navigated that.
Well, I guess I kind of got lucky because I've kind of like faded out of burlesque. I perform kind of by request only, and like for special things, like generally like if like Ophelia Hart's doing like a Eat Your Heart Out, like I'll show up for that or something like that. But for the most part, like I'm not performing that much. And so burlesque is not like the center of my life. And honestly, having not been able to do my day job, I was really able to focus in on mermaiding in a different way. And in some ways, it's been challenging. Like, I definitely relate. And I'm sure folks have seen articles around and just felt like that weird, like, I don't have anything to do, but I can't seem to get anything done. Like, I definitely feel that kind of just like overwhelm, like stuck, like mental health thing. But also, I have really relished the opportunity to do more and different things with my mermaiding, like getting like YouTube videos up as Mermaid Che Monique. Like, I don't think Mermaid Che Monique, I think Mermaid Che Monique had one YouTube video up before the pandemic. And I may not have a ton, but like maybe I have like 13 or something. I don't know, but I was committed to like doing regular motivational videos. I also started doing like just shout outs. One of my actual Mer friends got COVID pretty early on. And she was super, super sick, and I just wanted to film the video. Like, she's someone who's performed for like a decade and, works with kids and does all this. And by the way, if anybody asks, I'm not a children's mermaid. I'm definitely here for adults. And like, kids can like me, and I like kids, and I'll do videos for kids, but my just general like target is adults. But she's definitely like more of like a children's performer and all this stuff. And so someone who like goes out of her way to bring light to other people. And I just was like, let me film like a get well video and like a hey, we're thinking about you video for her. And then I was like, and anybody else who gets COVID. So for a while, for a couple months, like whether it was someone who contracted COVID or just someone, I did a lot of birthdays, like a lot of like, you know, hey, sorry, it's a pandemic, but you're still fabulous. Happy birthday, messages from a mermaid, both for children and adults. I did a lot of that. That was like my little bit of like, how can I, shine some light in these dark times thing. And I did that for those for free for a few months for people, and you just had to fill out a form. So that was something I did a lot of. And because my partner was out of work, like we were able, I was like, oh, guess what you are now? You're a videographer and a photographer. Let's go. And so that kind of just became our project. So in that way, I was able to explore things differently. And in other ways, I'm scrambling my day job. I'm a massage therapist. Not nobody, but it's very hard to give a massage from 6 feet
Yes,
away,
yes.
And like I said earlier, I just moved. So my personal life has been a little chaotic. Moving during a pandemic while you're out of work from your like day job is definitely challenging. But it's been a mixed bag. And I've definitely been able to become closer to certain people, which has been really nice, and like deepen certain relationships. So, there's definitely things I've enjoyed about it, and it's definitely been a challenge.
Well, you know what, Shay, we're looking forward to the future, looking forward to 2021. So tell me about your hopes for 2021 and how our viewers can follow you and keep up with you and plug anything you may want to plug.
Okay, well, I'm really excited because I'm working on a calendar for 2021 that should be, live, available for pre-sale purchases it'll be available to order at the very end of 2020 and pre-sale very soon. And so I'm really jazzed about that because you'll be able to follow me month by month. But I'm personally on all those social media. I've been TikToking. That's funny because like sometimes I feel like that's like what the kids, like literally I know like a
Yeah,
6-year-old
I know. I don't
TikTok,
even know how it works currently.
Right,
I have
right,
no
exactly.
idea.
And one
But
of
I
my friends,
just interviewed someone before you who said they just got into TikTok as well. So,
yeah, a little later on the wave, but I'm there. I'm there. So more, but yeah, so I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram as Mermaid Che Monique, Society of Fat Mermaids, on Facebook and Instagram. If you want to join our Facebook group, it's Society of Fat Mermaids. Let's connect. I've definitely going into 2021, we'll get back and we'll be doing more interesting t-shirts and legging designs. I've got some fun like Afrocentric things I want to pump out, and I want to diversify our fat mermaids a little more. I'm so excited when we started Merfolk for Black Lives, hashtag Merfolk for Black Lives. That was my first shirt that we put out that featured a non-binary mer, like a visibly non-binary mer, which I'm really glad that like, that's coming into the fold, and that type of representation is coming into the fold. I'm also working on paper dolls. So if you want to go real old school and low tech, you can like cut me out and dress me up. And I just want to do more fun stuff and just kind of like continue working to make mermaiding and just life more accessible. Like for me, like I don't think everybody needs to be a mermaid, but I think when you see a 300-pound Black queer mermaid with natural hair, that it just makes you go, well, shoot, I can do whatever like thing you think that you can't do because people like you don't do it.
I
So
love that. I love that. That's a great way to end our wonderful discussion today. Shay, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been such a pleasure.
oh, it's been so fun. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And to our viewers, thank you for watching.